Welcome to Wednesday, May 6th, 2026, SIG Cloud Provider office hours. We are governed by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. The short version of that is treat each other with respect, be excellent to one another, be kind, have fun. And we will use the raise hands feature in Zoom if you would like to add anything. The agenda doc is in the chat if you would like to put yourself on the attendee list or add any topics. We have a few topics on the agenda already, but we're happy to add more, either in the document or raise your hand and bring them to the floor. Okay, let's see. I don't know if we have any sub-provider updates that we want to go through before we jump into our agenda.
So I see Adam has joined. Adam, was this your
Good.
topic about the API server network proxy?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great.
Oh, cool.
All right, we'll put that on the agenda then so we can jump into that.
Thank you.
We'll let you kick us off, I guess. Yeah,
All right.
Adam, if you want to go, tell us some stuff about that.
Thank you for having me here. Let me start my camera also, just to have some face with me. I see you have also camera, so all right, maybe it will start working. All right, maybe now you can see me. Great. So thank you very much. So I'm working for IBM, especially for IBM Kubernetes service. This is a similar thing what other cloud providers are doing. We are how to say that? Yeah. So we are creating a managed Kubernetes service for customers, for OpenShift and for regular Kubernetes. And in both products, both service, we are using connectivity as a component between our control plane and the worker, between the workers. And basically, in the regular Kubernetes service we are using a specific version for connectivity, both for server and client, which is according to the Kubernetes version itself. So it means that we are using supporting Kubernetes 1.32 up to 35, and we are always using the related connectivity versions. And so far, we were not forking the API server network proxy because it was, I would say, maintained regularly from security and CV perspective, but lately we are seeing that this is not happening, and I'm just wanted to get some ideas or plans regarding that. So how we can help with this I can help, or what things can be expected, or what is the release policy for all the releases. I mean, sometimes these fixes are coming from Go updates, so need to update the Go compiler, the Go toolset to fix some of these CVs, and sometimes we have to update the Go modules we are including. So yeah, basically this is the topic I want to discuss.
Well, thank you, Adam. And I think because you said the word API server network proxy, Walter magically appeared, which is great. And I dropped a link to the repo that I think you're talking about, and you can kind of see, for example, that there was a PR with some patches merged 2 days ago. But I think
Yes.
Walter can perhaps give us some input into your question of like release cadence or other things you should know, because you were saying that there were some CVEs that weren't necessarily patched, et cetera. Walter, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, actually just going to quickly pull it up myself. It takes two people. I'm not using that as an excuse. I have been finding ways to get reviews done. I'm not quite sure. Imran used to be pretty solidly the second person who helped me. I haven't seen sign of Imran in a couple of weeks.
He was on vacation, but I think he's also really diving into another project. So I'm not sure if we're going to see as much of him.
Yeah.
So but Adam was just saying he might be interested.
Sure. Yes.
Ping me. There is a regular Friday. Why is my camera not working? Anyway, I'm sorry. There is a regular Friday meetup every week on Friday. It's Friday morning my time. I'm guessing it's going to be Friday afternoon your time, I'm afraid. I don't actually know what time zone you're in, but I'm just sort of guessing.
Yeah. I'm from the middle Europe, so yeah, in Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah, so it's probably not the best time for you. We can, I mean, if we can come up with a better time for you, I'm a fan of that. But I will say there is a regular meetup. I go pretty much every Friday.
Mhm.
I'm happy. Ping me. I'll make sure you have an invite, and we just go over the outstanding PRs. And there's a couple of things I've noted that we really need to get. We need to get some headway. So, one, I turned on Go dependencies, hopefully from GitHub. Hopefully that'll make it a little easier to get some of these CVEs in. Right now it's running once a week. I think I need to turn it up to more often than once a week. I've also been trying to push through. I don't know if you look at the closed PRs recently. I've been bumping up a bunch of things. I mean, we've bumped up gRPC, OpenTelemetry,
Yes.
and we upgraded to 126. The one thing I will say, and I think I mentioned this on a couple of PRs, there are two sections to this repo. So there is connectivity client and everything else.
Yes.
Connectivity clients, we can discuss this if we want. I'm going to make the general assertion, the agreement that we made with API Machinery. So if we decide we don't like this agreement, we have to go back and have a chat with them. But the agreement that we made with API Machinery is because specifically connectivity client gets included in the Kube API server. They want to have control of their own versions. So their request to us is to have connectivity clients dependency chain or Go mod be the equivalent of the oldest outstanding supported Kube API server version, and then they'll take care of all of their dependencies being greater than that. So we basically have just been trying to sync the connectivity client to whatever the oldest is, which I think right now is like 33, and then letting Kube API server then push up to newer versions of things. So we're keeping it at that level. And then the rest of connectivity client, where we're actually in control of the versions, and those are the actual versions, we need to actually be keeping on top of things. And I've actually been doing a push over the last few days, and I'm guessing you've been helping, because I'm guessing that you are, I don't know your handle, I'm sorry if I missed it, but I'm guessing that you're MIHIVAGYOK.
Yes. That's my that's my GitHub username. Yeah.
So I did see your PRs. I did do a first round review. The only thing I will say, I'm happy to have, but I love the help. The only thing is, please, let's keep changes to connectivity client and the rest of the repo separate. It just makes everything easier.
I see. Yeah. Okay, it makes sense. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm more interested in the connectivity agent and the server, not the client, because as you said, the client is handled differently and it is built in the Kubernetes API server itself. So I'm more interested in the other parts.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm all for it. And in fact, the other thing is, it's kind of a bit of a two-way. I'm lying. I can force merge things because I'm the owner, but I'm in principle, I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's good practice, and I'm not going to do it. So one of the things I will say is, if you see one of my PRs that's also trying to get our stuff up, right now getting reviews is a little tricky since my normal partner in crime is apparently somewhat distracted with other things. So please feel free to come in and help do reviews. It would be greatly appreciated, especially if you see Chef Taco. That's me, because
Yes.
I don't have a reviewer to help me get things landed.
Okay, sure, yes.
So this sounds like a great
Definitely.
opportunity for Adam to start, becoming a lot more of a participant in this sub project. Because,
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah.
you could become a reviewer.
Yeah. All right, I try my best. In the past, I was trying to submit some PR, so maybe you will find some close and merge PR on my name already. So yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. Perhaps that's something we should look at if you're going to be more involved. Getting you in so you can also do reviews sounds valuable.
Sure.
Um,
Okay. Thank you, Walter. I will try to join to the Friday meetings. I'm not saying I can be there all the time, but yeah, definitely I will try to attend when I'm available.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. And just one question, and we can skip to the next topic. So, do you think that it is feasible to update also the older branches, because older release branches, I mean release 0.23 or something, with the changes you made in the past days, to pick up the fixes there also?
100%. Well, okay. I'm going to say 100%. The actual answer is 50%, but let me explain that.
Okay.
So, unless my memory has totally gone out on me, which is always possible, let me just make sure. Okay.
I just dropped a link in the chat, actually, Walter. Like I'm confused about the releases. That's a confusing. If you can give us clarity as to how that works.
Yeah, well, so the first thing I'll say is, if you really want to understand how they work, if you go back to the code, and then there should be, if you go down a little bit, there'll be something called release.md. So this is the release process. This is how releases happen. It is documented. So I can absolutely, what I'll say is, I can absolutely cherry pick back all of the things into previous versions. There's certainly not a problem with that. And then, but everything I'm going to be cherry picking back is, well, we can look at it, but it's mostly just going to be the stuff, as we said earlier, for agent and server, not for client.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, and we can certainly look at this, but how far, I mean, yeah, why don't we, the short answer is yes. Why don't we have this discussion on Friday?
Okay, yeah, right, okay.
I guess my meta question is there a reason that we don't do releases recently, like in the last 6 years on this page? Because I'm looking at the date and I'm like, either I'm not understanding how releases work, or we haven't cut a release since 2020.
Oh, if you hit tags, and
Okay.
we're behind by one, but if you go to code and hit tags.
Yeah, I see tags.
So we released we should have, I need to go in and
you
cut
have a tag.
If there's a tag, there's a release.
Okay, so is the releases tab just not showing us correct things? Or do we need to click the draft a new release and have there be?
I don't
know.
Just open the tag. Yeah, that's the tag. That's the latest.
I feel like it's confusing. If anyone goes just to the main repo page, they won't know necessarily that there's been something in 2025, and they'll be like, wow, this is dead.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah, I'll take an AI on that one. I should probably update our releases process to actually indicate something on the releases. But yeah, we not only do we there are releases, and in fact, we even do things. One thing we should discuss later, but I'll mention now so that we have a thing for it. I don't know if any of the weirdly, GKE uses API Server Network Proxy, but Cloud Provider GCP does not. So it's never really been something that I've worried too much about. We do update the Kubernetes KK repo to use the latest version of API Server Network Proxy. That is part of the release process. We've never actually added anything for individual cloud providers to update theirs, and I'm wondering if we should, since we're sort of talking about the meta. And this is the right place to have that discussion. So, like, I don't know if Adam, like, if you guys use it in cloud provider, like, yeah, IBM or.
You mean the cloud controller manager in itself, or?
I more meant so if I look, sorry, I'm going to put it in my terms, and then I'll leave it to you to translate. If I look at Cloud Provider GCP, Cloud Provider GCP is both the CCM and a bunch of COPS scripts used to deploy Cloud Provider GCP. Now, the deployment that we currently have does not actually need API Server Network Proxy, so it doesn't deploy it, unlike GKE, which does. I don't know. I know GKE is not the only cloud provider that needs API Server Network Proxy. Azure clearly uses it in some circumstances. My memory is IBM uses it in some circumstances.
Yes. In all circumstances. So if for regular Kubernetes, we support releases the last 4, I believe, today, and all includes the API Server Network Proxy. And for OpenShift, I don't think it is a big secret, but we are using HyperShift for installing OpenShift on top of IBM Cloud, and HyperShift uses connectivity for all releases. So starting from HyperShift 4. I don't know, 16 or something, we are using up to OpenShift 4.21, the latest. So yeah, as we are using HyperShift, because that is the way we deploy OpenShift in our cloud, that's why it includes all the time.
No, that's fine. So I guess the question I'm asking is, would it make sense for us to add something to the release process, whether it's an email or something, to actually notify people that a new release has been cut?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Actually, we made some script by ourselves to get notified by ourselves. So yeah, but yeah, it would be useful.
Okay.
What I know, the OpenShift guys or the Red Hat guys are forking the API Server Network Proxy, and they have different strategy on it.
I'm shaking my fist at you, Almiko.
I'm not even on that team.
yeah, no problem. I just wanted to share this. So yeah, they are, and maybe they also, yeah.
I didn't know that Red Hat had forked this. I will say I know that the company that Ken Goldberg went to. Anyway, I know there's at least one other company that has forked this. So,
Miko, do you want to talk to your Red Hat colleagues who forked it just to see if we want to upstream some of their changes? Because maybe they were confused about the way releases were happening, and so they just thought they had to do them themselves.
Yeah, I can ask around.
One.
I mean, I know, like, we're like, based on what Adam is saying, like, yeah, it's being used for a very specific topology of OpenShift, not for like the standalone topologies. It's more of like a managed service type topology. But yeah, I can certainly ask around and see what what the contact would be like back to the upstream community for sure.
Yeah. So it is under github.com/OpenShift/API Server Network Proxy. So
yeah, that in and of itself would not be too shocking because we fork everything into the OpenShift reorg before we release it. So even if we were contributing changes back to the upstream, we would still have a fork of it there. But yeah, but that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And they made some changes recently, so yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else on this topic before we move on?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for the conversation and the discussion.
Awesome. Okay. I know, Elmiko, your stuff is next up. Are you okay with us going to hybrid cloud provider next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that we hear from everybody. Hybrid cloud provider node ownership. How do I see your name? Sergey?
Yeah, Serge. Just Serge.
Serge, great. Can we hear about what do you got here?
Uh, uh, I have a time, a few months, to continue to work on this issue, and decide to join this call to like maybe share some use cases or maybe some details, because I understood on previous calls, I understood that people maybe don't know what's going on in this field, and asking the question which in our site we never ask themselves about this. Usually we need only two components from CCM. It's just join process and life cycle. Routing and load balancing usually we don't use at all. It's switched off by default. From load balancing side, because it's like a default load balancing, and we cannot affect how it will work or something like this, and just we need use something else with more like more topology knowledge to route the traffic. And there are many solutions already exist how to send the traffic to the Kubernetes from the like different environment or different part of the world. So, and routing process, native routing process, also we don't use because CNI take care of it. That's why we never think about these two components. And most of the question was from this side. And in my opinion, if we need to send use the cloud native cloud balancing from the special cloud provider, we need to like send traffic only in like send traffic inside this cloud provider, and that's it. If pod doesn't exist, which can take care of this traffic, we just need to like send the 500 euro or something like this, because cross traffic it's like expensive, and from our side we like split the cluster by regions. It's like if it's another cloud provider, it's just for our opinion, it's just different region, and that's it. And we use like we send traffic inside zones in one region, and cross region traffic, it's like very expensive traffic, and we need to take care of it by labels or something like this. So each pod diamond set deployment has their own label selectors usually. And we expect that between region can be like network issue, and it can be like link can be disappeared for 1 hour or maybe more. And we understood it, and we just make cloud controller very, how to say, survival, like have a lot of additional checks, network links and stuff like this to like take care of the cloud controller and etcd daemon, and our other pods, it's just pods. If network doesn't disappears, nobody cares. I mean, we have alert about this, but we understood it. It's we accepted that half of the cluster can be inaccessible. It's okay. Maybe another
Okay.
case, it's like we have big cluster or big big cluster on one cloud provider and very small on another cloud provider. And if we need to switch over, like I know, data center were down and stuff like this, we just need to scale up another site, and that's it. Since we have replication on another part, we just very simple to survive. It's like very slow. It's like a few minutes maybe needs to scale up everything in another cloud provider. And external load balancer just send the traffic to another one. That's it.
Okay.
Common.
It sounds like there's a lot going on there. Elmika wanted to, I think, interject with a comment or question, and then we can continue.
Yeah, like first of all, Serge, it's nice to meet you on the meeting here. Thank you for bringing your concerns. I think you're talking to a lot of the questions that we have that are open on the issue. And I'm wondering, it sounds like the use case that you want is very it's very well spec'd, it's very limited in terms of kind of the networking and everything. So I wonder, I have two thoughts. The first is in terms of the issue, and like the cap that we're working on to come out of this, I wonder if we might take a phased approach where in the first phase we try to limit the network options that would be available. So we don't, we specifically don't deal with like the service controllers and the route controllers. We mainly try to deal with the identity of the node that's going on. And the second thought is, there's the node identity working group that's coming up. I think there might be some crossover there. But I'm wondering, what do you think if you adjusted the cap to talk more about a phase one approach where we're just dealing with node identity and we're explicitly having a non-goal of dealing with the networking part of this?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned it in the issue. Usually, when Kubernetes appears, it's like we had IPv6, IPv4 only, usually. Right now, with IPv6, its network is not an issue at all. So link the cloud providers very, very simple right now.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I'll try to go back and leave another comment on the issue. But yeah, I think maybe if we try to focus the cap and explicitly say we're not going to deal with some of the networking issues, we're just going to, because the use case that you're talking about, I could see it being, I can understand like the use that you're trying to get out of it. And if we explicitly say this isn't going to work with services and, load balancers and whatnot, that might help us take the cap to the next level. Actually, it might help us get the first version of this kind of out the door. That's what I'm thinking, at least.
Thank you.
So I kind of related, but I think IP address we have to resolve is if you're splitting nodes and then you need two CCMs, but how do you ensure that each CCM is resolving against the right KRM instance? And we can start with nodes. I think that's the right first KRM type to deal with. Like, is this a taint and toleration sort of? I mean, what is the plan to make sure each CCM is resolving for the right node type or right instances of node?
Yeah. Right now, we already have one provider ID identity. I think it's enough it's enough in Kubernetes resource to make decisions.
That's probably true. I guess the question I have is, are you then patching the CC? Because I don't think any of the individual cloud controller or cloud providers today are putting special logic into the CCM to only resolve against their node types, right? So
okay, now I see. A few cloud provider implementation. I spoke with them to support the hybrid environment, and they usually look on the cloud controller framework. It doesn't support it, and they decline add any logic to the CCM from their sides. Usually, that's why we need to start here in framework to implement it, and after that, many other tools or automatization apply those changes to support a hybrid environment.
That's kind of what I would expect. So, I mean, is the ask then for us to go in and try to add something so that that filtering is done automatically?
I have already a few changes. It's like 3 line of code on each CCM, and I have it in my GitHub account. And it's like very few changes we need to apply usually, and it doesn't need to add any changes from cloud provider implementation. Just we need to only in framework add the filter, and that's it, and everything will work fine. And I have already maybe 3 years old clusters in hybrid environment, and everything fine with CCM, CCI, and not autoscaler, Carpenter. Everything work.
That's awesome. I'm just sort of trying to understand, the ask. That's
yeah. I apply just a few patches for each size, like for not autoscaler, because they again expect they inside only in one cluster cloud provider, and our components requires only a few changes.
When you say a few patches, are these patches to KK or are they to the
No, it's
cloud
just
providers?
in my GitHub account.
Oh, sure. But like, what if we were gonna upstream these patches? Like, if we were going to get them merged in, where would they go?
Maybe I attached to the PR because I right now I didn't find it's like little bit need time to that, but it's like just to check provider ID prefix from which cloud provider. As I said, it's just wrote.
Right. No. But so you're talking about what the patch does, but what we're trying to find out is, like, if we were to make this a standard part of the system so that you don't have to individually patch a given cluster, where would the code have to merge? Would it be merging into KK? Would it merge into Cloud Provider -X? Like, where does the code actually have to change?
It will be nice if we apply to the framework. It's enough.
Sure.
Usually.
Which framework? Cloud Provider,
it's both initialization and life cycle. It's two sides because initialization some nodes.
So when you say it's like life cycle, do you mean it make the change in the life cycle controller?
Yes.
So this is in the standard node lifecycle controller. Make the change then.
It's a CCM part, not a Kubernetes part.
Well,
if I understood correctly.
So the node lifecycle controller is in KK, but is imported into the individual CCMs.
Maybe I didn't know some details. What does mean KK?
Kubernetes, the core repo that Kubernetes lives in.
No, I don't feel like we need to add any changes to core Kubernetes repository. It's just only in cloud controller part. It's like a few code in cloud controller framework. That's it. It's enough.
I hear you, but I mean, the interesting thing with cloud controller is our code is actually split across multiple repos.
Okay. It's
so let me just drop a link. So as an example, when I say node lifecycle controller, I'm usually thinking of, I don't know if Bridget got to it first.
Yeah, cloud provider controllers, not lifecycle. Yes.
Yes. Well, cloud provider controllers node lifecycle. So that's part of KK.
I think the thing that's ambiguous that maybe people aren't aware of is the thing you're talking about there, that node lifecycle. Even though it's used on the cloud providers and it's under something that says cloud provider controllers. But if we look all the way back up to the, GitHub, it says github.com, Kubernetes. The reason this matters, the reason I'm kind of diving in and making sure we understand that this is what you want changed, is that to get this change out is something that happens 3 times a year. And so if it matters to get it in, like we need to actually start process so that we don't miss one of the 3 times a year that it could go out if we are ready to do that. Does that make sense? Like we want to make sure we start getting it into KK if that's something we want to try to move forward on.
+1 to what Bridget said, but also this is because of where it lives, this is common code to all cloud providers, right? So anything we do there, we have to be, I'm not saying we can't do it. We can absolutely do it, but we have to be careful, right? That's why we exist, is because this is common code, or one of the reasons we exist, because this is common code and we're trying to make sure that it works for everyone.
Okay. Yeah, it's like we can start from the alpha, version this. Maybe I send some ideas, maybe details to the Slack in a few weeks. Probably because I did already those changes. It's like a few line of code. Maybe you review it, and it doesn't have any flags in the CLI or to run this daemon, because it's like fast patch. And maybe I want to add more options how it can be run. Like you need this feature or not, switch off, switch on thing. Okay.
Yeah, Elmiko.
Yeah, I think sharing the changes you have in the Slack is definitely a good step, Serge. And I'll go back and look at the cap and the issue again and leave some comments, and maybe we can start driving the cap towards a format that we could accept, and then that'll help us get into the kind of the release cycle that that Bridget's talking about and everything. So I'm glad you came to the meeting today. I think there's a possibility we could move this forward, but yeah, we'll have to scope it. I think we have to scope it just to the activity that you're talking about, and it's still going to be, I have a feeling it's still going to be dangerous for some people to engage with, but that's the nature of software sometimes, right? Later, Walter.
Great. So this is not a no. This is we're excited about this, but if we're going to make this happen, we definitely have to work with you and make sure to get it into the Kubernetes release, just because this is not the sort of thing that can go in a monthly patch release. Like it will have to actually go in, with the release schedule, which we're happy to do. Yeah, the Kubernetes just released I think it was 1.27, or maybe 1.27 is about to start. Well, anyway, Kubernetes just had a release last month. And so we have about 3 months here, 4 months for like the next release. And it's usually about the first 10 weeks before code freeze that we work on seeing what we want to put in. So you're talking to us at exactly the right time.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, anything else on this topic, Serge?
No.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for bringing this. Okay. Elmiko, this is a great segue to the Node Identity Working Group.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if any of you might have seen it or not, but at the last KubeCon, there was a panel, and I think it might have been hosted by SIG Auth, where we were talking about secure boot and attestation and kind of early, some of the things that Kubernetes has traditionally kind of not dealt with specifically, which is like kind of the things that happen before, an instance becomes a node and stuff like that. Anyways, coming out of that discussion, there were a lot of interested parties in starting to talk about how we could have a node identity concept. And, a lot of this, like I copied from the charter here just so we could see it. A lot of this is so that we can do things like secure booting. We can do, hardware and software identity and attestation during the boot cycle. And this would be like happening, kind of prior to the point where kubelet joins the cluster. So think, right now, the way we do things is, there's a bootstrap token that's kind of distributed throughout the cluster, and then that token is used for new nodes to start joining, so that they can get the certificates to be part of the cluster. But how do you know that those pieces are secure even before the node is booted and everything? How do you attest that, the hardware you asked for is the one you got? So this node identity working group, and I guess I can open up the charter here. They've put together a charter, and the reason I'm bringing it up here is because one of the things that came out of the discussion was that SIG Cloud Provider might potentially be a sponsor for this working group because there will be some cloud provider specific cases. For example, some clouds provide hardware security module type services, right? And in those cases, there might be a mechanism where something that runs prior to the cluster, kind of, or prior to a node joining might need to speak with, specific infrastructure to get those things. So, yeah, I think right now the working group is still forming. There have been some emails that have gone out, and I would encourage, you could see, kind of gathering all the different, people, and they're talking about the deliverables and everything. But I would encourage everyone who's kind of curious about this to take a look. There have been some emails, and please leave comments if you have questions about anything here. There's a lot of background information. I have a feeling that the working group is still forming, and there have even been some pushback on if we need a working group or not. So yeah, this is kind of part of the Kubernetes process, I guess, and this is kind of I'm just sharing it here to get more input from people.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Almiko. And you have the link to the charter there. Do they have regular meetings yet, or something that people from like Hetzner or IBM or other clouds can join in on? Or
Not
should they just be
yet.
commenting on the Google Doc right now?
Yeah, I think for now, comment on the Google Doc, or I
Okay.
sent an email to our cloud provider list, and I have a feeling we
Mhm.
might see an email going out to the wider Kubernetes dev list soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I would comment in one of those places. I think the work, from what I've seen of the kind of people who are forming the working group, they're still deciding on like a channel where they want to have communications and when meetings might happen. Like I said, there's
Mhm.
been a little bit of pushback if we even need a working group. Like I think one of the SIGs, I don't remember which one was kind of just saying, can't you just start writing caps? Like, do you actually need to have a working group for this? So I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen there yet. But it's still very early days. So this is kind of the time to get in and make comments and everything.
Okay, great. So that call to action there is if you folks from any clouds are interested in that, that's a good place to jump in and get your opinions heard early in
Yeah.
the process.
I would say, I think like to get out of the jargon a little bit, I think for any cloud provider who is curious about supporting things like secure boot or supporting, software attestation, if these are things that are kind of important to your, to your infrastructure or your provider, or maybe they're features that you provide, I think this working group is probably a place where you're going to want to focus some attention. Because there are some decisions that are going to be made about kind of how this works in Kubernetes, and the design work is just starting. So now's a great time if you have concerns about those kind of features, to get involved.
All right. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Hopefully that will be reaching the folks who want to get involved so that their clouds are represented. Okay. Next up, Almiko, Tell us about Salt Lake City.
Yeah, just, we have about a month before the regular call for paper ends for the next KubeCon. And I just wanted to start bringing it up here. The maintainers track, traditionally the call for proposals is a little bit longer. So I would expect going into June. But, the last couple KubeCons, this SIG has done, panels, and we've done kind of like updates on what's been happening. And we've talked about different aspects of testing and cloud controller managers and extraction. I just wanted to kind of bring it here and hopefully excite people. Like if you have some ideas or you've been doing a lot of cloud provider work, please bring it up to the SIG. We would love to promote people who haven't necessarily spoken before, or maybe have new projects they're working on. Like, we've certainly done enough kind of status updates and everything from the SIG that I think, I see Bridget nodding, like we would love to promote anyone who's working on projects, or, maybe API server network proxy. It's time to have another talk about that. But anyways, I just wanted to bring it up here and just get people thinking
Yeah.
about it. We have some time.
That's a really good point, Almiko. And I wanna highlight for people too, if this starts to feel like, I don't know, that seems like a lot. You can and should, if you like, submit a talk to the regular KubeCon CFP right there. Um, and then there is a maintainer track, which will be similar to, but a slightly later deadline than that CFP. And that one, it's not guaranteed acceptance, but it's very likely, if we have something that seems generally applicable, that it will be accepted in the maintainer track. So I would encourage people, if you would like to, maybe you and a colleague submit something to the about specific work you're doing, submit something to the main CFP, and then also talk to us about which, especially things across clouds or with applicability to several clouds, or, API server network proxy or whatever. If you have something that you would like to talk about, especially if you're thinking, I don't know, I'm not an experienced conference speaker, this seems very intimidating. Between Almiko and myself and Walter, we've probably spoken at most KubeCons, which means we are happy to help you shape the talk or even co-present with you if that is what makes you the most comfortable. And we've done this a number of times. We've co-presented with other SIG Cloud Provider, first-time speakers, and it's gone really well. So yeah, just putting that out there as like, start thinking about this now. And if being in, the US in November is something that is feasible for you, then get this submitted. And if you're thinking US, November, not happening, I'm looking at Barcelona. That's a discussion to be had in December, January.
Yeah, well said. And I think I just plus one to everything you're saying. Like, if anyone out there is like thinking about this, like, definitely reach out to myself or Bridget or Walter or anybody associated with the SIG. I'm sure we can help you out. And like Bridget's saying, if it's a topic that is kind of close to the SIG, that might be an opportunity for us to include it as a maintainer track talk. So
Yeah,
definitely. And
absolutely.
I will say, from having been to a few meetings now, don't just put maintainer track on your talk as you submit it. Make sure you speak with the SIG first before
You
you.
have to talk to us. They'll just boot it.
Yeah. There have been some complaints about that happening in the past. So just kind of leaving that out there for folks to know.
Yeah. And by the way, also, if you are thinking, well, I think I do want to submit my own talk about the awesome stuff that my organization worked on in the last 6 months or year or so, and I don't want it to be the SIG's talk. I just want it to be my talk. But wow, this feels intimidating. Please come on the Slack and bring your Google Doc or whatever with your ideas for your talk. Bring it either async to us or bring it to the next meeting. We are thrilled to help you get talk proposals in about all your cloud provider related work, because this is something that we have done a non-zero amount of times. And the more people we get speaking about their work from the broader ecosystem, especially people who haven't presented it before, the better KubeCon is for everyone, and the more people learn, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
All right.
I plus two that.
All right, fantastic. So I think the last thing we were going to probably talk about, unless somebody had anything more, was tests. So many tests. Let's take it away. Miko, what do you got for us around
Yeah,
tests?
just an update. I'm still kind of chasing this action item from last time. I'm still following up on the test grid. I am not convinced that what we're looking at here is actually super relevant to us. Although this looks pretty.
Test grid might be lies.
Yeah, looks like there is a big problem going on with something at the moment. But this, this is something SIG node. I can almost say it probably has nothing to do with us, but it could be. Yeah, so this is some problem generating stuff in there. But that said, I'm not convinced that this is the right place to be looking. And I think like probably in the future, I know that several of our cloud providers like AWS and Azure and GCP are actually running end-to-end tests from their repos. So I'm kind of wondering if in the future it might be better for us just to directly get test grid results from those if we can get access to them. It probably would be more meaningful for us than looking at these tests that aren't specifically related to our kind of machinery and whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially if these tests aren't entirely correct, because I know that some tests are release informing and some are release blocking. And so if we have tests that are giving us, false information or outdated information, it could even slow down the Kubernetes release, which is not something we want to see.
Right. And as more of and this is going to be, I mean, this is one of those things where I've been talking with the SIG testing folks too, where it's like, like as we extracted more of the cloud provider specific stuff from KK, we might reach a very real point where it doesn't make sense for SIG Cloud Provider to appear on like the main KK test grid anymore. Like we might have to start saying, okay, we're going to have specific places that we go, just so that when we come to this triage part of our meeting, we could actually look at a couple different cloud providers and just say, yep, like, not that we're trying to specifically debug those cloud providers, but more so that we can pick up regressions in the cloud provider framework and, behaviors across the board and everything.
That kind of makes me wonder, the stuff we were talking about earlier, the cloud provider controllers and node lifecycle. I wonder if we could surface tests that hit specifically that in like a cloud provider, limited dashboard of KK tests, but just the ones that are the most relevant to us. I don't know if that's possible or not, but it seems sort of interesting.
No, I think you're on to something that's a really great idea that, we've talked about tangentially in the past, and I would love to kind of write something about this to get more people involved. But I think there is actually a really great opportunity to add more unit tests to the cloud provider framework, right? And we could do a lot of unit testing that would help us to to assure that the core parts of the cloud provider framework are working. And I think that would actually solve a lot of the questions that we have about like, regressions and everything. And it's probably an opportunity for more people to get involved with the SIG as well. So.
I was going to say, I think this is where Adam gets his maintainer wings, right? It's like he's in there with cloud provider framework, doing all sorts of tests and additions. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. Do we have any other topics we want to go to today? Should we take a look at any needs triage? There you go. What are we looking at here?
And we don't have anything new on the triageable stuff, so I think we can we're probably good to just leave this the way it is. Although, like Serge, I will go back and leave a comment on this one just to talk about, because this has been going on for a while. We've been talking about it, and I think we're making some progress here. So I'll go back and leave a comment on this one this afternoon.
Okay, great. All right. All right. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about? I know, Kirtan, you joined us a little bit. We didn't get a chance to hear from you. So did you have anything you wanted to add?
Not right now.
Okay. Great. Well, glad you're here. Okay. Well, I think if that's it, I think we can call it there and tell people thank you so much. And we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, guys. Awesome meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.